What's better than a meal that's ready in 30 minutes? A meal that's ready in one pot and doesn't break the bank. I've got 2 brand new one-pot 30-minute meals for you, a bunch of tips and tricks to help you cook quicker, easier, and a special little dessert hack that we haven't made in a long time. So sit back, relax, grab your sweet tea, and let me do the cooking in 30 minutes. Hey there, friends, and welcome to my kitchen. Tonight we're going to test drive the first one of 2 new 30-minute one skillet meals. I'm super excited to try these, and I'm always curious when they say 30-minute meal, can I make it happen in 30 minutes? So I'll show you what we got going on tonight. This is the one-pot cheeseburger casserole. I'm starting out browning up 1 pound of ground beef. It's just been in here for a few minutes. And I was thinking I would half this casserole, but I still think I'm going to leave the entire pound of hamburger meat because, you know, we just want it to be a little bit more meaty. But the other stuff, the noodles and some of the other things, I may just go down to half with this. So let me show you the ingredients while this is cooking up here. Okie dokie, you can see here, these are very simple ingredients. I'm going to vary just a little bit from things that she said, but by all means, you do what you want to do. It's your kitchen, honey. But I'm going to use up this about half a box of penne. This calls for like a small shell or an elbow noodle, but this will be fine. Some milk, sour cream, garlic, Worcestershire. This is some tomato paste that I had frozen. I had a little bit left, and that will do fine for this recipe. Some beef broth I'm going to mix up, onions, and cheese. Diced frozen onions. You will see me use these a lot. If you're new here, I'll buy these. And also, if I have extra onions and they're about to go bad, I'll just dice them up and freeze them. But this is a real time saver for me, and this is worth the little bit of extra that I spend on these to help me get a meal together quick. Okay, and I wanted to show you this. I'm going to measure my skillet. This thing is huge. Y'all always ask when I do these one-pot dishes, you know, you say, I would make that in a Dutch oven. Definitely make it in your Dutch oven, but that's hard for me to show you what I'm doing when I try to use a Dutch oven. But this is a huge skillet, and I've said before, I love my Calphalon pans, this hard anodized. I love this. It's a good non-stick, but it doesn't flake off. I don't put them in the dishwasher or anything like that. I take real good care of them. But anyhow, I'm going to measure this because I told y'all this thing is big. Looks like, let's go right here. Looks like it's 12 inches across from here to here. So, and it's pretty deep. I don't know, I'm just guessing 2.5, almost 3 inches deep. So you can get a lot in this. Okay, before this gets away from me here, I'm going to do a little bit of salt and pepper, and I'm going to throw these frozen diced onions in here. And we are going to drain this. Oh, and the most important part of seeing if it's a 30-minute meal, I need to check my time. I haven't done that yet. It's 3:34. Let's say I've probably wasted about 4 minutes. So let's just say 3:30. I've got 2 cups of like warm tap water here. And each one of these little bouillon packs makes 2 cups of beef bouillon. So I'm just going to put that in there and stir that around. I'm not going to worry about boiling it up or anything like that because it is going to boil in this little recipe. Okay, that did not take long at all. Another good thing that happened to me tonight, this beef was actually a pretty good cut. It was ground round. It was only 20% fat, so I don't have a lot of fat. I'm just going to take a little paper towel and get up some of that excess. There's not a whole lot at all. Okay, now into this I'm going to put just a little spoonful and a half of some garlic and just let that cook up for about a minute. Now, of course, Stephanie, she says mince your own garlic. Hey, you mince your own garlic if you want to. I'm sure it would be delicious. But you know, I like shortcuts. I like to show you ways that you can trim some of the time and effort off of what you're doing. Sometimes just the thought of peeling and chopping an onion at the end of the day is more than I can stand. Now we're going to take the Worcestershire sauce. I'm going to use about 2 teaspoons. We like it, so it's okay if there's a little more in here. Then we're going to take a couple tablespoons of this tomato paste. I always save the little bits of jars and stuff like this because tomato paste comes in that little bitty can. And I just freeze it. You can always pull it out and it gives so much flavor to anything. That looks good. And I still got a little bit left. Probably another, couple teaspoons or tablespoons. Let's get all this mixed together. I like meals like this because your measurements on stuff like this, they just don't have to be exact. And I love that, especially when I'm in a hurry. It's smelling delicious. Okay, going to let that cook on down. And now I'm going to add in this 2 cups of beef broth. And this I have halved. It called for 4 cups of beef broth and 16 ounces of pasta. But I'm halving the broth and I'm halving the pasta. But I kept the full amount of meat and tomato-iness. And the wonderful thing about this one-pot dish, you put this pasta in dry. I always feel like such a cheat when they say it's a 1-dish meal, but then you've got that other pot of water over there that you had to boil your pasta in. So, I love this idea. Can get everything in here, get all these pasta noodles covered, and they're just going to cook right in here. Okay, you can see that is boiling really good now. Got that up to temperature. I'm going to stick this pizza pan lid on top of here. Set the timer for 5 minutes. Mine was cooking pretty hard, so I took it off after 4 minutes. And you're just going to give it a little stir. Then you're going to put the lid back on it for 5 more minutes. Okay, I am going to take this lid off. We're going to cut this all the way down to low now. And, oh yeah, that smells good. A 1/4 cup of milk. I'm sure this can use the whole 1/4 cup of milk. I thought I may not use it all. I may actually go back for a little more milk. But I'm going to put that in, and then I'm going to grab some sour cream, probably about 1/2 cup, maybe a little less. We'll start with that right there. Going to mix that in, and this brings in sort of the hamburger helper type vibe. And these noodles, the reason that I only used 1/2 of them is because they are bigger. They really, they take up as much room as a whole pound of elbows. Maybe I should have went ahead and used all the chicken broth, but it looks fine. Now I'm going to take about 1.5 cups of cheese, and I'm going to start mixing that in. All I'm going to have is this one pot to wash. And our dishes, I can throw them in the dishwasher. If my dishwasher gets emptied, it's full of clean dishes right now. I'm going to grab my little lid back and put that over the top and just let it get melted. And guys, that's it. We're done. Let's look at the clock. 4:03. Not too shabby. Not too shabby, Cozy Cook. I can't wait to dig in and tell you guys how it is. And just for transparency's sake, I said I had this one skillet to wash, which I would if I had done my dishes last night. But I've got all this. The struggle's real, friends. The struggle is real. Well, I survived and dinner got done, and the dishes too. Friends, this was delicious. This was rich and ooey gooey cheesy, so yummy. I had a bag of salad that I pulled out and put with it, and it made for a great quick weeknight meal, 30 minutes, and not much cleanup from this meal anyway. So now let's move on to the second 30-minute meal. Before I start our next 30-minute meal, I'm taking the time to whip up a little fajita seasoning. Y'all know I have been struggling with finding me a fajita seasoning. The only one I liked was the Old El Paso. My friend Cathy sent me her recipe, and that is what I am mixing up right now. She said she was sure that I would love it, and I trust Cathy, so I'm just going to mix this up, and if she allows me, I will put her recipe down in the description box. If not, I'm sure she won't mind if I put a link to her Facebook page down below. Cathy shares all kinds of little tips and tricks and recipes, and I'm sure she will not mind me sharing that for sure. So anyhow, this amount that I've mixed up today is about equal to 1 envelope of seasoning. So now, let's give this next 30-minute meal a try. There was one more thing I needed to mix up before I could make this dish. I did not have any heavy cream, so I just made some. I used a little over 1/4 cup of milk, and I melted 2 tablespoons of butter and mixed that together, and that gave me about 1/2 cup of heavy cream. I try to get all my ingredients out and sort of have everything at least gathered up together before I get started. It just helps the process go a little bit quicker. So I've got my chicken breast out for this one, and I do like to use the thin ones because they cook up much quicker. And I just sort of trimmed them up, and I'm cutting them into smaller bite-sized pieces. And over in my Dutch oven, I've got a couple of tablespoons of olive oil and some butter heating up. And yes, I'm cooking in my Dutch oven for all you guys that always ask about that. I don't think mine's really a Dutch oven, it's just a pot. But here is our time check. I forgot that again. So it was 4:28, pretty much, give or take a few minutes when I started. So anyway, I'm cooking up those chicken breasts there, and then I did put in about a tablespoon of my fajita mix that I made up. While that's going on, I'm going to start prepping my veggies. I've got 3 bell peppers. I'm just going to slice them up kind of small, and I've probably got 1/2 an onion, and I'm going to put that in these fajitas too. That is another tip, is try to multitask, maybe clean as you go while things are cooking up, or prep your veggies while something else is cooking. Or, you know, if you can prep them even farther ahead of time, that is wonderful. Get as much done up ahead as you can. Now you can see the chicken is looking good. I've kind of broken some of it up and made sure it was nice and done on the inside. And you're just going to remove this now from your pan. Now I'm going to put just a little bit more olive oil in here, and I'm going to toss my veggies in here and start getting them all cooked up and softened up. And I don't like mine just to be cooked down to nothing. I like a little bit of crunch left on them, so it doesn't take long. And I'm going to throw another tablespoon of that fajita seasoning in here. When these get to almost where I want them, I'm just going to throw in a little bit of garlic. Just saute that up a minute. Then I'm going to remove these and put them over there with the chicken. Now into this hot pot, I'm going to pour in my 2 cups of chicken broth. You want to be sure and get all that stuff up off the bottom. And here's where things started going south for me. I forgot to show you that I put my heavy cream in there, and then I put in a can of Rotel undrained and 8 ounces of bow tie pasta, and then I'm gonna salt and pepper it to taste. We had everybody here, and I got to talking and carrying on and catching up, and I forgot to watch my clock.
I think this did get done in 30 minutes because it really moved even quicker than the other recipe. But anyway, I forgot to watch it, but I'm pretty sure it got done in 30 minutes. It was really quick. But anyway, once your stuff gets up to a boil here, I'm just going to reduce the heat and put my lid on, and then I let it simmer like that for about 5 minutes, and then I'm going to stir it up, and then I'm going to put the lid on it, and I'm going to simmer it another 5 minutes. After that, if it's got most of the water down, you're pretty well finished with that. You can put in your chicken and your veggies. Now, if you still had a lot of liquid left, just boil it another 5 minutes or so. But at this point, I put everything in and I cut the heat off and I just mixed it up. This was smelling so good, and it was so good. I just fixed it up like I would a fajita if I was eating it. I put some cheese and sour cream and some onions there on it. This was so yummy. One pot, 30 minutes, I'm pretty sure. And we were done. And both of these I loved that the pasta actually cooked in the skillet.
We have not had brownies in a while, so I thought I would show you a quick little addition that we do to brownies just to take them over the top. Not that this little box might need it. This is triple chunk with chocolate chunks and chips. So this is one of those smaller batch brownies where you're supposed to use like a 9x9 or an 11x7 pan, but it was the one that was going out of date the quickest. So we're going to make it up. Maddie is putting our batter together just per the instructions on the back of the box, but we always add an extra egg. It's supposed to give it more of a cake-like texture, and honestly, I'm just bad to make my brownies a little gooey, and that's okay, they're good, but I have been eating them with a spoon before. And these little mini marshmallows is what takes brownies to the next level. Usually, if I'm doing a 9x13 pan, I'll throw in half of a bag of these small mini marshmallows. This is a 10-ounce bag. But since this is a smaller box, and it's also got all this extra chocolate in it, I am just going to put in that much. Just kind of break these apart as you're stirring them in. And you could definitely just dribble these over the top if you wanted to do that. They do come up to the top just a little bit, but you're going to be so surprised when you see what the marshmallows do for this brownie. So that looks pretty good. Okie dokie, I've got my parchment in here, and I did spray it just to help with the non-stick, and I'm telling you, those chocolate chunks down in here, they are big and they're heavy, so I'm anxious to see how they cook up, and I'm just kind of spreading these marshmallows around in here. Now, I'm going to put this in the oven to bake up.
When you pull these brownies out, you can see how those marshmallows have just gotten all expanded at the top, and the parchment really helps you pull them out of that pan to cut them. And I did let them set just as long as I could, but you can already see what those marshmallows do. Look at this ooey gooiness. It's almost like it's got caramel in it. The marshmallow is just such a nice little treat. These are delicious. I might like these even better than those slutty brownies that we made a few months back. I'll leave you a link down in the description box if you didn't see those. They were definitely to die for too.
Hey guys, I also wanted to throw in just another quick little tip and meal idea. Wanted to talk about these guys right here. These are just some store brand frozen grilled chicken breast. Mine are Kroger brand. We love these little things. Look at those, how yummy they look. And I'm just going to throw a couple of these. Well, these two are stuck together. They've been in the freezer for a while. There we go. But I'm just going to stick 2 of these on a baking sheet. I've greased it with some spray. And we're going to put these on top of a salad. Now, I just wanted to let you know a few other things that I do with these. This is definitely keeping within our 30-minute meals because these only take 20 minutes to cook. But you could cook these up, boil you some noodles, some jarred Alfredo sauce, and make you a chicken Alfredo. You can use these in fajitas or quesadillas. You can also microwave these. I just like mine in the oven. I'm kind of old school. You could make wraps with these. These are just a great time saver. We also have gotten regular hamburger buns, or if you've got you some of the brioche buns, put a little barbecue sauce on it, piece of cheese and some bacon, and it makes one of those copycat Chick-fil-A, those smoky bacon chicken sandwiches that they have. You could make a wonderful taco salad out of this, shred this up, or chop it up really fine, throw some lettuce and tortilla chips, some corn and black beans. You could use this in casseroles in place of a rotisserie chicken. I love the rotisserie chickens, but hey, I don't always have a rotisserie chicken on hand. And in my opinion, I'm a breast meat lover, so it's kind of a waste of money when I buy a rotisserie. I don't like picking it off, and you can do this. You can do this. Just get creative and just make whatever creation comes to your mind. So another 30-minute meal tip: buy ahead convenience things when they're on sale. Put them in your freezer, and you've always got something to fall back on. And here it is, guys. Now I have lettuce cut up for the whole week. It looks really pretty when you cut your chicken like that and lay it out. But it's all about balance. I got my pizza rolls and my salad. And that is another tip when you're trying to get dinner on the table in a hurry. It doesn't all have to be fresh, scratch-made ingredients. Focus on like one fresh ingredient or one casserole that's going to be the main deal, and then throw canned sides with it or a packaged salad. So there are ways to eat it fresh and still get it done in a hurry. Beautiful, yummy. I'm going to eat, guys.
I hope that you have gotten some great ideas from tonight's video, and it has given you some inspiration just to get in your kitchen, in your pantry, in your freezer, create your own 30-minute meals. And as always, I appreciate and thank you so much for spending your time with me. I never take for granted that you're watching. Thank you so much, and I will see you next week. Until then, as always, I'm sending you love from my kitchen.